Hello and welcome to the Bear House. It's September 2012 and as I promised we're going to go through the brand new Isabelle collection for 2012. Now it may be that we can't get it all onto one video, so we may split it down into a few videos, so keep an eye out. We'll tag everything up, so make sure that you've got all the information, and if you see something moving just down here, that's my little doggy Saskia. She won't move, she wants to be with her dad today, so that's how it's going to be. So we start off with Rebus. He's a 16-inch mohair bear, limited to only 300 pieces. I'm going to grab him now, so you can have a right good look at him. This is Rebus, absolutely stunning bear. He actually stands on his own, does Rebus. And he's a beautiful kind of copper, deep copper colour with a beautiful satin bow around his neck and a john with kind of jewels there. So I'll just take him for a bit of a spin so you can see all the way around. So there you go, that's Rebus, absolutely stunning. You've actually seen him on QVC so far, so I'm not going to spend much time on him. Next, we move on to, and I'm going through the catalogue because I think that'll be easier for a lot of people. Next we move on to Doolittle, who I have to say is one of my little favourites from the collection. He's a beautiful kind of sage green colour and he's got this stunning bell on him. He is slightly wobble jointed, so wobble jointed in his arms and in his legs. He will sit perfectly well, but a little trick that I always like to tell people with wobble jointed bears is to kind of sit them so they're kind of sitting back on their arms like that, and it makes them really sit up really well. He's actually got some very slightly different colour mohair on the insides of his ears as well, but absolutely beautiful. So Doolittle is 14 inches tall, so that's from the bottom of his toes to the top of his head, is limited to 400 pieces and is made of 100% mohair, and that's Stilton mohair, which is the case with all of our mohair bears. Right, next we move on to Mitchell, who is just over there, so I'm just going to probably go out of shot for a second. Just bear with me a second. Oh, here we go. There's Saskia, I think it was all about her. So this is Mitchell, who's a beautiful kind of London gold colour. And again, made from mohair, limited to 400 pieces again, 14 inches tall, but he's got the sculpted paws, and also again, very slightly wobble jointed, not too wobble jointed that he's kind of slouching, but he will sit there beautifully, but a real stunning piece within the whole collection. I think you'll agree that when you look at the whole collection together, you can see where Charlie's gone with the collection. And this is exactly what we wanted to try and do, to try and give you some ideas as to, you know, we know that it's not possible to collect every single bear, or some people might try to, but if you want to see some of the bears together, then this is the way to do it. So that is Mitchell. We then move on to Mitchell's bigger brother, very similar colour, called Jonah. I'm just going to sit them side by side, because I think that's sometimes a nice way to see them as well. So that is Jonah and Mitchell together. And Jonah, actually, we've just very slightly waxed the nose on that as well. Again, very, very slightly wobble jointed on this one with a corduroy scarf, which has been purposely frayed at the edges. He is, altogether, he is much bigger than Mitchell. He's actually 17.5 inches. And limited to only 350 pieces, so he might be a little bit harder to find than Mitchell, who does sit beautifully on his knee, and they love each other. Quite happy them two together. Okay, we're moving on to a bigger bear, Potter, who is down on the bottom shelf there. So Charlie's not made this easy for me to grab all these bears, but I'm going to do my best, so if you just bear with me. I'll just put Jonah and Mitchell down there, and that's to Saskia if you look after those two, love. Good girl. Oh, here we go. So this is Potter. Now, Potter's going to be a tough old one to find, because he's only limited to 200 bears. He is 100% mohair, wears these beautiful bells around his neck, which we've done in two different sizes, and again, as per usual, we've just aged those bells to make them look like a very kind of old bell. Slightly waxed over the top of his nose, beautifully shaved back. He also has the whites behind his eyes to give that kind of who me look. And that is our Potter bear. So 19 inches, limited to 250, 100% mohair. I'm just going to stand him up so you can see the kind of size that he is. So he's a bit of a bigger bear. He's going to be a considered purchase for many. But again, he goes beautifully within the collection. So that's Potter. We then move on to page 14 of the catalogue. And one of my absolute favourites from the collection. And that's not a bear that everybody's been talking about actually, but he's very close to my heart, is Selwyn. Now, many people will remember that we did a bear called Malcolm, and Malcolm was a plush version of Selwyn. So this particular bear is made from alpaca and mohair. So this part here is all alpaca, this is mohair around his ruff here. Also on the back of his head there, just turn him around a minute, this is all mohair, so beautiful kind of dark chocolate mohair. And then we bring him down to the front again. This is all alpaca, so the shaved back muzzle area is all alpaca, but beautifully sculpted under his face, waxed nose. Now many people won't know, the reason why this bear is called Selwyn is that this is actually my brother's middle name. So anytime you see my brother, you can call him Selwyn from me and say, hi from me. So this is only the second time we've ever done a bear called Selwyn, because the first one was only limited to 300 pieces, and that was a QVC exclusive. It was a small plush bear that we did. So we can actually bring Selwyn into the Isabelle collection because we haven't done a mohair version. So this is our Selwyn bear, but absolutely stunning. So there you go. That's my favourite of the whole collection. Absolutely stunning. Oh yeah, how do you know it? That's right. Okay, Isabelle Masterpiece 2012. You were introduced to the Isabelle Masterpieces in 2011. This is the brand new 2012 Isabelle Masterpiece. How the Masterpiece works is that we ask Isabelle to choose her favourite bear from the whole collection, and that's the one that gets called the Isabelle Masterpiece. She puts all of her effort and all of her time into designing that particular bear. Not that she doesn't into other bears, but she pays special attention to her own bear. Of course she will. It's a bit like me with the William bears, to be fair. And what we've done with this particular bear is, again, we've taken many, many different pieces of mohair, put them all together, and created this absolutely stunning, and in my mind, an absolute masterpiece. She is limited to 500 pieces. She's 100% mohair and absolutely gorgeous. Fully wobble jointed, again, so slightly looser joints, but again, she will sit. But my suggestion again is just to kind of sit her back like that, and then she sits beautifully on the shelf. So even if she is slightly wobblier jointed than other particular bears, then you can just sit her back and she will sit there perfectly. Again, she's got these beautiful accessories around her neck, with a see-through ribbon there, kind of a goldy coloured see-through ribbon. So lovely accessories, almost like one of those kind of bracelets that you put together. And it's got all those little bits and pieces on it of kind of bamboo type woods and painted beads and things like that. Absolutely stunning. So, and she's got those lovely little sculpted paws as well. Now this is a sparse mohair that we've used on the ends of the feet here. So if you do get yours back and the mohair's parted a little bit, don't worry about it. That's actually the way that the bear's supposed to look. So it is a slightly sparser mohair. You can actually see through to the back in there. That's the idea. That's where we want to we want to go with it. Okay, next bear, and this is the biggest bear of the collection. He's actually 28 inches or 71 centimetres, and that is Montague. I'm going to get him down. He's going to take me a bit of time to get him down because he is a heavy old bear as well. I don't know what the exact weight of them is, but not easy to actually shift with one hand. So this is Montague. So people will have seen Mulligan in the shops. This is Mulligan's brother, Montague. Like I say, he's only limited to 200 pieces, so he's going to be a real tough one to find. And I would have thought that most shops will only have one of this particular bear. He is stiff jointed, so he will actually sit if you make him. However, my suggestion with the standing bears is to always try and have them standing, because they've been made stiff jointed on purpose. And that's basically so that they can stand all the time. If you are constantly kind of moving the legs like this to make him sit down, it's going to loosen off those joints. So if you want him to stand, leave him standing. There we go, absolute stunner, that's Montague. We move on now to page 16, and we start with Little Ragtag. So I'm going to pop Montague down here and move on to Little Ragtag, who is sat behind here. Now, here's a good example. Ragtag is a perfectly normal but very wobbly jointed bear. So he actually does sit like that. He's quite happy. He's not broken in any way, shape or form. But again, if you just kind of sit him back a little bit, just chill him out on the shelf, he looks happy again now. He doesn't look quite so sad. But he is one of those bears you've got to look after. So this is a Little Ragtag, made of many, many different pieces of mohair. This is basically going around our shop floor looking for bits of mohair, and we brought up Ragtag. So he is limited to 300 pieces. We've actually put some airbrushing over the top of his nose there. So this is the same colour stitching, but we just very slightly airbrushed over the top of his nose there. But absolutely beautiful. And he actually wears a little locket around his neck as well. So that is our Ragtag. Hope you like him. Next we're going to move on to Port and Stilton. A mouse and a bear. Now I know that this particular pairing, people were trying to work out what Port and Stilton were going to be. People thought it was going to be a cat and a mouse, but never really thought it was going to be a bear and a mouse, did you? Neither did we. So this is Port and Stilton. So absolutely stunning. Little Stilton here. Stilton is the mouse, and Port is the bear. But they actually come as a pairing. You can't buy those separately. They're a limited edition to only 500 pieces. Good stocks have gone out on these to many, many of the stockists that have ordered them. Of course, as with all of the Isabelle collection, we actually sell out on day one of our trade show, which means effectively we could actually sell 1,500 to 2,000 of these particular bears. But we choose not to. We choose to keep the limits nice and low so that you have an opportunity to have something which is really, really nice and collectible. So that is Port and Stilton, and lastly in this video we're going to move into Dibble. So just bear me a second, I will grab Dibble for you, and then we're going to have a little tidy up and move on to video number 2. So Dibble is here. There's quite a few things I need to point out on Dibble. Again, he's been wobble jointed. He has actually been given these stitches across the top of his head. There are some what looks like loose threads, but that's been done on purpose to look like it's been found in Granny's attic and we've had to repair the bear. That's exactly the design feature on this particular bear. And he's also had a couple of scrapes along the day. So we're just turning around. He's also exactly the same on the back there, and that's it. So that's Dibble. He's also a sparse mohair, but the nice thing about this particular mohair is that the backing is a mid-blue colour, which means that when that backing comes through, it really kind of shines through on the bear, and that's the reason we've done it like that. Again, he's got his sculpted paws, and absolutely stunning. He's got that Who-Me look. So that's it for video number 1. Hope you stay tuned, and hope you've enjoyed video number 1, and video number 2 will have a few more bears in it. Okay, see you soon.